Here we
Somebody had to
go.
have a technical difficulty. Yes,
There
yes,
you
That
go.
yes.
okay? It's
Good
funny.
job.
There's a mute button, but when it's lit up, it means it's not on mute. So I thought it was the other way around.
It's opposite
So
day.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't blasting it in my office, you know.
No, you
Good.
sound fantastic. You look fantastic.
Thanks.
Good Lord.
Whew, I'm feeling
Aged well.
fantastic now because
There you go.
it's the end of my day. This is the fun part of the day. I get to hang out and chat with you all and have a beer or two.
Awesome.
I put a 6-pack next to my desk and I threw my jacket over it to keep it cool.
Nice.
In case
You
the
know what?
questions get really hard, he's got a
Yeah,
6.
yeah.
You guys in Maine, you know how to MacGyver everything, right? Like I can make a cooler out of my underwear and paper clips. And
You gotta do it because
You
I mean
know?
in the middle of the summer, you know, I'll bring beer home from work and it'll be 110 degrees in my car. So I'm wrapping something from the winter around it to keep it cool. And then in the winter, I'm wrapping stuff around it to keep it from freezing. And it's a battle. I mean, it's a constant battle here.
It is a good. I mean, didn't you make like a cool ship out of like an old cattle trough or something?
Well, I mean, there is a little bit of a funny story around that. We actually had the cool ship completely fabricated, like to our design specs, but you know, the city of Portland had never seen anything like this. And of course,
except in the cattle fields.
exactly, yeah. And I mean, no one in the beer industry had seen one of these in the US. So
Right.
we didn't know how the city was going to handle it code-wise. So we built the building to house it. And we designed it so the building had like a knee wall at about 4 feet, and then everything above it we could actually hook a crane up to and like pick it up and set it aside. So what we did is we built it and got it inspected for, I think we put like a lawnmower in it and said, yeah, this is a shed to hold like lawnmowers, and put a couple rakes and hose in it and got it approved. And then we picked the top up, put the cool ship in it, and put some stained glass windows on it because I mean, obviously, it would have probably raised eyebrows if they're like, "Well, why do you have stained glass windows in a shed?" You know.
You gotta let the mold in and out.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course.
Well, before we just start yapping away, it is our privilege and honor to have Rob Tod here, the founder of Allagash Brewing in Maine, just a legendary Belgian style brewery, one of the OGs. Rob, thank you for coming on BeerNet Radio, the podcast where all your dreams come true. We're sitting here also with Jen Litzkirk and Jordan Driggers and myself, Harry Schuhmacher. So, guys, I know you may be wondering, Harry, why are you in a hotel room? Where are you? Well, I normally like to keep these things mysterious, but I will tell you that I am in Austin, Texas, staying at the Van Zant Hotel on Rainey Street, which has been the scene of 10 drownings in the last 20 months. And they're calling it the Rainy Street. What do they call it? The Rainy Street Stripper or
Ripper.
Ripper. The Rainy
Rainy
Street
Ripper.
Ripper. Yeah, and I love that
Rain.
Austin PD is just like it's just drunk people drowning in the lake, and I'm here to prove that wrong. I'm also speaking at a beatbox thing tomorrow, so that's why I'm here. But really, Rob, I wanted to start by saying that you're a real trooper. Rob's been coming to our Beer, Wine, and Spirit Summit for years, and he doesn't come for the content. He doesn't come for the socializing or the networking. He comes because it's always near an ocean. And I know you're an avid surfer, and you came to our summit in January in San Diego, and you showed up like a homeless man. Can you tell what happened? What happened in San Diego that you showed up without any cash? You had to borrow money. What's going on?
What happened?
So first of all, I do show up at the conference for the content and to hear your wisdom and insight, and I really do. It's an amazing conference, but I'm going to be honest, like it is a selling point when you live in Maine. I mean, it's something like 17 degrees outside right now. When you live in Maine, you have an opportunity to either go to Palm Beach or Coronado, an expensive trip. You're probably going to snap it up. So
snap it up. Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, that is a big selling point. But yeah, it was a disruptive trip for sure this last time. So I tried to work in a little additional business on that particular trip. And I came out 2 days early to work with our distribution partners Reyes, who we've recently moved to back in April of 2023. So I figured I'll just go out a couple days early and spend some time with that crew at their Gardena location, their Huntington Beach location. I had a couple great days with them. And then I had Saturday off before the Sunday conference. So I figured I'd shoot down from Huntington Beach down to San Diego and pick up a surfboard, which I own, that my buddy Rick from Coronado stores for me.
Yeah. I know,
And
Rick. So you surfer guys, y'all keep each other's boards. It's a cool community.
It's cute.
It's a tight knit. It's a tight knit community.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rick Chapman, he keeps my board for him. So I showed up, I picked up my board, I had a couple of beers with Rick, and then I was anxious to get to the beach, and I had all my bags in the car. Luckily, I first drove to my hotel, checked into my hotel, and then just shot right to the beach. And I drove into the beach in a minivan that fit my board. It had Oregon plates, and apparently I'm sure someone was watching me the whole time, because anyway, I parked, I changed into my wetsuit, and then looked around, made sure no one was looking, and did what surfers have done for decades, which is hide their keys up in the springs, in the suspension under the hood. And so I hid the keys, went out, had a blissful 1 hour enjoying the California surf and beautiful weather. And then the sun started going down. So I went back to the beach. It was at Tourmaline Beach, and set my board down, looked up in the springs, and I was like, uh-oh, I don't see the keys. And I mean, I knew right then I was screwed, but I had hope that maybe they had fallen off the springs, or I had put it under the other wheel. But no, long story short, they were, someone was watching it. Turns out I was something like the fifth or sixth car this has happened to in the, since between Christmas and your conference. And they basically unlocked the car, stole my wallet, my phone, my prescription glasses, and oddly enough, my chapstick. And then to add insult to injury, they locked my car and left with the keys. So
Why?
I don't know. I don't know if they were just being, nasty,
Dicks.
or yeah. My guess is it was for practical reasons. They were probably trying to delay me being able to do things like cancel my card and, start getting my life back together. So,
Right.
so I'm standing there, the sun's going down, I'm shivering in my wetsuit. I can't get in my car. So anyway, this wonderful woman and her daughter kind of took me under her arms, and she let me use her phone and her daughter's phone. And, I had to call the rental car company, and they had to break into the car, and I got my clothes out. I knew my stuff wasn't going to be in there, which it wasn't. And, she stayed with me for an hour for that. And then she drove me to my hotel room. She even offered to loan me her daughter's iPhone, because I have an iPhone. And I was like, you know what? I've got a 16-year-old daughter, and if I took her phone like for even an hour, it would be way worse than the situation I'm in right now.
Oh yeah. Oh,
so
my
anyway, luckily, I mean, I never travel with my laptop, but this was one of 3 trips probably in the last 2 years that I had my laptop. So I had my laptop. I luckily had a spare pair of glasses miraculously. I had a couple $100 in my suitcase, but it was a nightmare. And then I had to get a ride to the airport the next day, rent a car without a driver's license, which, took a couple hours, get an iPhone without ID. It was tough. And then, so luckily, the Bank of Kimberly helped me when I got
Yeah, I heard.
The Bank of
So
KC.
I saw Kimberly. We're talking about Kimberly Clements of Pints, and she goes, "Did you hear what happened to Rob?" And I was like, "No." And she goes, "I had to lend him $1,000 or something." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And I can't, I can't imagine being away from as far away from your hometown as you can get in the continental United States, with no phone, no ID, no money. You feel so naked. Literally, you were naked. I mean,
you really do. I mean, and the thing is, you don't know anyone's phone number anymore.
Right.
I thank heavens. I obviously know my wife's cell phone number. So I started calling her, and she wasn't picking up the phone. And then I was like, of course she's not picking up the phone. It's a 619, San Diego number. She's never seen in her life. So, and I didn't know how to text from this woman's Android phone. So then she handed me her daughter's phone. I said, Betsy, please call this number. You know, I've had my wallet and my phone stolen. I'm in a parking lot in Tourmaline Beach, and she called me right back. And
Oh my
obviously,
gosh.
she and the team at the brewery were a huge help in me, you know,
Yeah.
getting cards canceled and getting things kind of starting to piece things back together. But yeah,
Wow.
you really do. You feel naked and violated, and
Yeah.
it was a pain.
Wow.
It was a
And you
pain.
know, to your credit, and you know, maybe this is because the content at the summit's so good, but you stayed. You stayed for the whole conference
I
with,
wouldn't
you
miss it.
know,
I
you
wouldn't
wouldn't
miss
miss
it.
it for the
Yeah,
world.
and I didn't have the distraction. I wasn't one of those people in the audience looking at my
Checking
phone,
your
you know,
phone.
text.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I had
You
nothing to look
actually
at.
you had to actually listen to the
Yeah,
content. That's great. I mean, it's not great. It's horrible.
it
That's
was
I mean, I
great.
can't even imagine. But we're glad that you made it through it, and what a story. But
yeah.
listen, Rob, I've known you for so long, and you're just everybody loves Allagash. Like, right, Jen? Have you ever heard anybody say like bad things? I've heard bad things about every single supplier, distributor in the world, but you just don't hear that about Allagash. That's a tribute to, you know, your reputation. You know, you just have a great reputation. So anyway,
Yeah, and we,
I
you know, that reputation is our team. We have an amazing team, 150, like just unbelievably passionate employees that just do an amazing job with what they do. And, you know, we really value our relationships. And we've had some, you know, we've been in business now for 3 decades, and we've had a lot of our relationships have gone back that far. So
yeah,
I'm glad to hear you've heard good feedback on
yeah,
the
oh,
beer and the
absolutely,
brand.
yeah. So Jen, what do we
Yeah.
got for Rob today?
Well, you know what, Harry, that was a good segue because, you know, Rob, you are an anomaly, and Allagash is an anomaly in a lot of ways for a top 50 craft brewer, right? I think you guys did 120,000 barrels last year. But, you know, you're only in about half the states. You just started a year-round IPA last year for the first time. And I think, you know, up until COVID, your mix was like 70% on premise. And that's flipped, of course, since COVID. But it just, you know, completely different, which is really cool. But of course, it's trying times in craft right now. So I'm curious, like, generally, what's your playbook like for this year?
So, you know, and I'll try to keep most of my answers brief, but I think this one almost needs a little bit of a preface. I mean, the last 4 years have been like very turbulent years, especially for us, like in terms of the profound impact COVID had on us. When COVID hit, and I really consider the day it hit March 16th, and that was the day that our distributors canceled all their draft orders. You know, we were nearly 70% draft on that day. We were about 65% draft, 35% package. And I'll note on the package side, we just started doing we had just started doing cans on a small scale. You know, prior to COVID, just 4-pack, 16-ounce cans.
Yep.
But you know, really the only off-premise package you could buy Allagash White was a 4-pack glass bottle. That was it on the shelf. We just delivered to very, very few occasions. But you know, COVID hit. We're 65% draft, and we sell the bulk of our beer in urban markets: Philly, DC, New York, Boston, Chicago, LA, San Francisco, basically a laundry list of cities that shut down. So our business, like, literally ground to a halt on that day. You know, I spent that day just figuring out how long our cash was going to last. I won't get into this part of the story, but I ended up with COVID that night. I ended up with 104.5 fever that night. All of a
On
sudden,
March 16th?
yep. I
Wow.
had been traveling 2 days before. The woman next to me on the plane was sick, and
Early adopter.
yeah, I was an early adopter. Yeah. So
So was Jordan. Jordan got
Yeah.
it right
did
then
you?
too. Yeah, at the
Yeah.
Constellation meeting. And I rode
Yeah,
back with him. I didn't get it, as far as I know.
It
the
was
Corona
rough too.
conference. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a fever for 16 days. So it
Ooh.
was, and I was working, you know, 12 to 16-hour days, just kind of figuring things out. But luckily, about 2 years prior to COVID, we really thought the time was right for us to take advantage of the opportunity. We had to develop the package side of this business, and we decided to expand our building footprint, put a high-speed canning line in. We knew it was a 2-year project. We were literally putting the last bolts in the canning line in February of 2020, right before COVID hit. So when COVID hit, we put our heads together and really decided we needed to take what really was a 3 or 4 year plan to build the package side of the business, which was, restructuring our sales team to include a chain team, restructuring just logistics and supply chain, everything, to really grow the package side of the business. And we figured out a way to basically take a 3 or 4 year plan and squeeze it into only about 3 months. And our distributor partners, retail partners were amazing. They were under pressure at the time, but they agreed to help us really survive this, take in a bunch of new items. That's when we rolled out 12 packs of white. That's when we rolled out 12 packs of the River Trip. We just rolled out a number of new items. 19 twos were new. And we rolled out a number of new packages for new experiences, a number of new beer lines. And really, in about a year and a half, we doubled the package side of our business. So you fast forward to today, we're no longer a 65-35 mix. We're about a 50-50 mix.
Okay.
Draft didn't quite get back to where it was, as we all know, pre-pandemic, but it, recovered to almost 90%, and we doubled the size of our package business. So we went from 100,000 barrels pre-COVID to just shy of 120,000 barrels today.
Yeah. We had Sam Calagione on recently, and I was asking him about, there's a lot of breweries shutting down and things. We haven't seen a growth year in craft in a couple of years. And, I was asking him about this moment in craft, and he likened it to craft's hermit crab moment, right? Where you've got these hermit crabs scurrying around, look, here's a bigger shell. Let me go ahead and get in there, because the other craft guy has abandoned it. He can't use it anymore. What do you say? Is that like the defining thing of this moment? Or what do you think about the state of craft right now? And does it worry you?
I mean, there's a bunch now. Does it worry me? No. I mean, do we have to be, recognize what's going on in the industry right now and the fact that it has matured, which, I mean, we all knew it was coming, right? You can't grow anything double digits eternally. At some point, you're going to get maturity and things are going to kind of flatten out and the trajectory is going to change. So does it worry me? No. Do we have to run our businesses much differently than we did pre-COVID? Absolutely. And I thought it was a great analogy that Sam had. And, unless I'm misinterpreting what he was saying, it happened just in Portland today. A new brewery opened up in town in the space where another brewery had closed down just a few months prior. And I think we're going to start seeing a lot of that. I think we're going to start seeing, and we are seeing, a lot of roll-ups where one brewery might buy a neighboring brewery in the same town, in the same region, maybe even shut that production facility down and just bring the brand into their facility and consolidate operations. So I think we're going to see a lot, assuming I'm interpreting what Sam was saying correctly. I absolutely think we're going to be seeing a lot of that.
A lot of recapitalization, really.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's whoever has cash or has credit somewhere enough to get it rolling again, then there's a lot of iron out there. We don't need new iron. When I say iron, I'm talking about brewery equipment. I know that's iron because iron rust, but stainless. There's just a lot of iron out there, and whoever has some cash is king.
People are going to be able to get equipment for pennies on the dollar. 2 years ago, if you wanted to buy a 20-barrel kind of soup to nut system with a brew house and tanks, you might have had to wait 2 years, or at least a year for the equipment. There was a long queue. Now, I mean, not a week passes where I don't see at least a couple equipment auctions.
It's interesting. How are your business plans then changing this year, or are they? Right, you're still leaning into Allagash White. You guys have that IPA. Has that gone like you expected?
We see a ton of continued opportunity with the white. I mean, for the last 3 years, we haven't seen a ton of growth. Some of that, to an extent, has been kind of by design because, again, we had such profound change during COVID, going from 100 to 120,000 barrels, and really building our off-premise business, not from scratch, but nearly from scratch. But if you look at our business in 2023, we had a lot of change on the distribution front. Over 25, or well, over 20%, depending on how you look at it. You could say 25, but really over 20% of our distribution business changed hands in just an 8-month period between March and December of 2023. We had a distribution change in California. We just moved to the Reyes network there. We work with Reyes in a number of other markets in Florida and DC, Northern Virginia, Chicago. We're really looking forward to working with them in California. We have a great relationship with them. The Sheehan family companies, as you know, sold their New Jersey operation. We'll miss doing business with them. We have an amazing relationship with them. But we moved to a network of AB houses in New Jersey. We think there's huge opportunity there. We moved to a network of AB houses when the Sheehan family companies sold Maryland. And again, we'll miss working with them there, but we see opportunity with the AB network that we switched to. But the long story short with that is those changes are disruptive. I mean, to have 20% of your footprint switch ownership, we need to relook at how we engage with contacts and form new relationships, how we handle logistics. We went from really 4 warehouses in those 3 states to 30 warehouses in those 3 states. So we're just learning the logistics, and there's going to be a period of optimizing and taking advantage of the opportunities that these new relationships can deliver. So we think there's a lot of opportunity there. And we feel like there's a lot of opportunities reaching new customers. In 2024, we're doing some things we've never done before. We're actually going to be buying, I think it's 10 billboards around Dodger Stadium in LA. You've been able to buy our beer historically in Dodger Stadium. Presumably, we're working on making sure that it's available this next year. But we've never reached people through a medium like that. We're really excited to be working with the Boston Celtics this winter. We're doing advertisements with I think his name is Mike Gorman. He's a real beloved announcer. He's been announcing for the Celtics a couple decades. So we're working with him to run some advertisements during Celtics games. We're doing the same thing for 14 Red Sox games. So we still see a huge amount of additional opportunity to grow Allagash White in our existing footprint, despite the headwinds in the industry. And I think in climates like this, I mean, we all know beer's been down for the last couple decades, year over year. Craft has matured, and the growth isn't there. But strong brands are absolutely going to be able to continue to grow in a climate like this. And we feel like, in our distributor and retail partners and customers, they feel like our brand is strong. They've got a lot of confidence in the brand, and we think there's opportunity.
When you did that distribution change, I'm assuming you were coming from a wine spirits houses and going into beer houses, and you went with AB and with Reyes in certain markets and some, like you said, AB distributors. Is that because they just have a lighter book and get more focus?
We do it by territory. We do, like the Sheehans were good enough on the East Coast to allow us to do our due diligence, and their plan was to sell to the AB network in both Maryland and New Jersey. We did our due diligence, and we absolutely agreed with them that was the best place for us in that market. And in California, our distributor sold, and again, we have a phenomenal relationship with the Reyes Group in all those markets I just mentioned, and we just see a ton of opportunity working with them in the state of California. And I love California. I'm there a lot. My mom grew up there. My cousins live there. I've been going there all my life. I love to surf, when I could get out there, even though I'm a terrible surfer. I love it. And so I'm personally going to be there supporting them in their efforts. So we
Right.
see a ton of opportunity there.
Cool.
We got to get you a waterproof Beer Business Daily fanny pack to wear when you surf in California.
Hey, hook me up.
Yeah.
Hook me up.
A
Done.
BBD wetsuit.
Yeah. And you know, I'll also add, before COVID, we were very, very limited with it. Allagash White's 80% of our business.
Yeah.
We were very limited with occasions. We, of course, had on-premise occasions with draft, and some on-premise bottle placements, but we were very limited with off-premise. You could only get Allagash White in a 4-pack, 12-ounce bottle. Now we have Allagash White for essentially every occasion, and we still haven't finished developing those occasions. You can get Allagash White now, 6-pack bottle, 12-ounce, 6-pack glass, 12-ounce, 6-pack wrapped can, 12-ounce, 12-pack wrapped can, and then of course a 19.2. In 2023, we were up 23 actually percent with our 19.2s, and we've got a great relationship with some some players in the convenience channel like Cumberland Farms and Circle K. We have an amazing relationship with Hannaford, and we've done a lot of work with them developing that 19.2 channel, and I think we're just getting started. So we really just are getting rolling with bringing new drinking occasions, or bringing Allagash White to drinking occasions that didn't exist just a couple of years ago for our customers.
Listen, when you're selling tall boys, it's always good to be with a beer distributor, to get into those C stores, to get into those coolers, merchandise. There's a lot of growth in singles these days. It's no doubt, but that's great. I imagine you were exhausted. I mean, transforming your business that quickly, in 3 months, just going from a keg business, which, going from package is just so much more costly and complicated, as you know. So it's, well, you do get the kegs back, so that's complex, but you know what I'm saying. It's just
Oh yeah.
it's harder business to break in. So well done.
Yeah, you got to relearn. You got to, or not relearn, you got to learn a lot of facets of the business. We had to learn a lot of facets of the business very, very quickly. And we did. I mean, we executed very, very well.
Yeah. You got to ramp up your chain sales,
Yeah, for sure.
Has
Yeah,
that
you mentioned Hop Reach too. I mean,
Oh, right.
Hop Reach, that rollout's gone great. I mean, it's, we didn't expect it to, overnight be 100,000 barrel a year, 100,000 barrel a year plus brand that Allagash White is. But, again, when we look at drinking opportunities, we didn't have anything for that opportunity. IPA is, depending on how you measure it, it's 50% of craft-ish, to use round numbers. And we didn't have anything year round in that space. And we worked for about a year on that beer, and the brewing team the whole production team did an amazing job developing that. And we were really looking we didn't really want to necessarily go after a particular trend like hazy or, New England IPA. We wanted something timeless. We wanted something that maybe would have been relevant 15 years ago where we brewing it, and something that will be relevant 15 years from now. It was the number one let me see, I wrote this down because the number one new craft item in New England food, and that's Nielsen through 12/30. So we were very happy with the release, and we really find it has legs when it's placed next to the white, because I mean, obviously people know us for the white. They associate the brand Allagash with the white, and when it's next kind of merchandised and marketed, like literally and figuratively next to the white, we really find it has traction, and we're really finding it does have a lot of traction up in New England.
Yeah.
Rob, y'all are a craft brewer through and through. And I guess you mentioned earlier that you're doing some things you've never done before. And I kind of wanted to lean in on that theme. And I'm just curious, I'm pretty sure y'all have never done anything in Beyond Beer, but what's the closest you ever got to doing something in that category? I mean, has a seltzer, spirits, F&B ever crossed your mind?
So we haven't done anything in Beyond Beer in the broader market. But we have a very strong tasting room business. We get over 100,000 people a year that come to visit us here at the brewery. It's an amazing tasting room experience. We have it on the other side of our campus. We have the Cellars experience, which is like a deep dive, curated tasting and sometimes tasting and pairing experience. We're starting to do events. We launched an events program, so we see a lot of opportunity there. And we're doing we got some really cool projects going on, like outside of beer. We've got our winery license, and we've been making a lot of blueberry wines. Blueberry is obviously very associated with Maine. And we've been doing a bunch of different blueberry blend wines. We've been doing some ciders and blending the blueberry wine with the ciders. The cider we make is amazing. We've been doing stainless aged ciders, barrel aged ciders, and we've been offering those for well over a year here at the tasting room. In terms of broader rollout, we're really just continuing to focus on continuing to build and take advantage of opportunities with White. I'll get to a seasonal release in a little bit. But in terms of seltzers, that's nothing I don't think that's anything we'd be interested in. We don't feel like it would be a cultural fit here at the brewery. Obviously, we all know what the trends are with seltzers right now. We've never made spirits here. I'm not saying we wouldn't make spirits at some point in the future, but again, we really try to focus on. We're going to be focusing on taking advantage of the growth opportunities that we see with beer, and nothing on the CBD, THC, what are they, D9 or whatever
D9,
it's, yeah,
are you sure?
Delta 9. Yeah, that you're not going to see anything like that from us anytime soon, if ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how about
But
like
I
Allagash
never
Clear?
say never, but not anytime soon. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
We have been experimenting a little bit with hop water,
Yeah.
just to have a non-alcoholic offering. And I won't, spill the beans too much into the direction we're going with that, but I'm excited about it. And our team has come up with some pretty cool, like unique flavors in the hop water space. So you might see something like that. At the very least, rolled out in our tasting room, so we can get feedback from visitors here at the brewery.
I love
Yeah.
hop water. I think it's so underdeveloped. I I drink hop water every day, and I was drinking C4 every day. No, don't mean to drag C4. It's a perfectly great beverage, but it just hop water just seems healthier. It's more up my alley.
I love it too. I agree. I love it. I think it's a cool segment
Yeah.
for sure.
You guys are a B Corp? Is that right?
We are.
And
Yeah, and I don't know how many B Corp certified breweries there are in the country. I can't imagine there's 20. If there's more than 20, it's probably only, a couple more than 20 out of 10,000. There aren't too many. But we first obtained that certification back in 2019. And, basically what it is it's a third-party certification. It is not easy to get at all. It is a very extensive. I mean, the kind of assessment that you need to take, it's somewhere between 50 and 100 pages, and it literally delves into every facet of your operation. And with this certification, it essentially certifies that when you make decisions with your business, you are not just considering your shareholders, but you're considering your stakeholders. And your stakeholders being the community, the environment, and your employees. And we had been interested in that B Corp certification, and we had been talking about it for a number of years before we got certified in 2019, because a lot of the tenets of this certification were things that have been important to me since day one. I mean, all these things, considering the environment, considering the community, treating our employees well. Those have been all things that I've prioritized, and that we've done a lot of work with. So it really seemed like a very, very natural fit. I honestly thought we'd skate right through to an easy certification, but just to show you how hard it is, or to show us how hard it is, we barely qualified. You need to score at least 80 out of 200 points. And I think our first round, we got about 82 points. And when we were going through that process, we just saw a ton of opportunities, not just to improve our score, because I don't look at it as just, a purely a score driven thing. But the way I look at it as, if our score is getting better, we're doing better. We're running our business better. We're more effective running our business. And from 2019 to when we got recertified about a year ago, our score increased dramatically to over 100. So we're very proud of that. We can't continue making strides on all those fronts. And you know what? Like, it's funny because I would even say just 5 years ago in 2019, we didn't see as much interest in that work, the community environment, employees, the stakeholder work on the part of our customers, distributors, retailers. But we are seeing a ton of interest now on that front. So that certification is really something that's resonating with our customers, whether it's distributors, retailers, and customers. And so we're putting it on a package. I got our new seasonal release here, which we can talk about a little bit, but it's got the B Corp emblem right on it. We're including it on our white beer package now because it's really, that's resonating with our customers, and the work we're doing on a number of other fronts is resonating with our customers. Things like back in 2016, we announced this initiative, and honestly, I didn't think we'd actually be able to do this, but we said by 2021, 5 years, we would be buying 1 million pounds of Maine grain and Maine processed, Maine grown and Maine processed and packaged grains. Barley, oats, wheat. And at the time, we were buying about 50,000 pounds a year. And so we sat down with farmers in the state of Maine, and we put together this plan to work it up to 1 million pounds of Maine grain. And we did it. And we didn't do it to sell more beer. We knew it would cost us more money, but it was so aligned values wise with our culture and why we're in business. But that's been something that's been very engaging for our distributor retailer partners, absolutely. And we did hit 1 million pounds in December of 2021. We hit the 1 million pounds. Last year, we got up to 1.9 million pounds. So a lot of this work, this B Corp related work, it really is resonating in ways that I never could have imagined 5 years ago. It wasn't why we did it in the first place, but we're going to be talking about it more and more.
I mean, it is. I've heard that it's very difficult to get, but it seems, like you said, it seems like you were already doing a lot of that. I mean, that's the impression I get from the outside looking at Allagash over the years, that integrity and taking care of your employees in the community is important. That's why I'm here in Austin trying to solve these murders.
I didn't hear about that. That's concerning, to say the least.
The inept APD is saying that there's nothing to see here, but that's why I'm here with my investigative journalism props. You can see I have my electric one wheel behind me. Have you ever seen this movie, Paul Bart, the Mall Cop?
I have. Yeah.
That's me.
The guy from King of Queens. Yeah. Well, I was wondering what that thing was. To be honest, that's a scary thought, running around on one of those anywhere.
Trust me, it was put there deliberately.
I was going to say that was planted.
Yeah, I was hoping somebody would comment on it. I don't just leave my one wheels around on couches like that. It's rude. So.
Lord. Well, let's hear about that. The seasonal play, Rob.
Yeah.
So this is a first for us. And again, it's in terms of opportunity on the beer front for us. So it's our first year-round seasonal. We were originally looking at, all seasonals are 4 seasons, right? But we don't really have a spring here in Maine. It goes right from basically freezing your ass off one day to being warm the next day. So we're keeping it simple and doing 3 seasons. Someone actually just put this on my, I know this isn't video like the actual broadcast, but you can see it. Someone put just a sample of the cans that just came in for the summer seasonal, but it's based on our house series. So we have Surf House for the summer. It's a lager, real refreshing lager, 5.5%, real just drinkable, sessionable lager. Obviously, lager is a very, very relevant style right now. So we're pumped for this. This is going to be available in the summer. For the fall release, we have a beer we've been making for, I want to say almost 10 years now, at least 7 or 8 years, called Haunted House. And it's a stout. It's a little over 6% stout. And just year over year, that beer, even though it's just kind of a one-off release, it has grown year over year over year. So we inserted that into our seasonal series. It will no longer just be a one-off. And then in the winter, we've got Ski House. And it's kind of loosely based on the Allagash White, just a higher ABV version. It's a little over 7%. It's spiced with ginger. So it's going to be a real nice winter beer. And, as you can see from the labels, really cool labels, kind of playful labels. They will integrate very well on the shelf with the rest of our brand lineup, but they're different. They're a little more playful. And yeah, it's our first foray into like a true seasonal, something that's going to be on the shelf at all times.
Yeah.
And it goes right into your surfing hobby. So it's authentic. This isn't just people playing like they surf or pretending that
that's a rendition of my surfboard right on the can there. See that?
That looks nice. Wow. And by the way, Rob, this is a video podcast, so we get about half the people that actually watch it. So
all right.
But you look great. So perfect.
And these headphones are huge. Our marketing department supplied me with these. So
we call those
like
cans. We call them cans in the industry.
Yeah.
So,
I guarantee you Harry's going to ship us some of just those headphones.
You know what's funny is these guys make fun of me because I ship them dongles all the time, attachments to make sure everything works. And I came to Austin without a dongle, not one dongle to my name. And so I'm sitting
Come to
here
my
with,
house, Harry. I got a bag of dongles for you.
A bag of dongles. I might have to, Jim, because this computer does not have charging ability without a dongle.
Oh,
but
Lord.
well, good.
Yeah.
Well, Jen, do we have anything else or?
Well, I think the last obvious question is just about, longtime, chief sales officer. Naomi left recently, love her, but you guys have another vet stepping up to take her place. And I think it's Josh Fruchtman. Is that how you say his name?
That is how you say it.
And he's just started officially in that role this month, right? How's that going?
Yes, I mean, it's going great so far. I mean, we're obviously gonna miss the heck out of Naomi. She was here for, about 14 years. I personally hired her. I knew her for a number of years before. She just made some amazing contributions here, incredibly hard, like dedicated, passionate worker. I mean, Naomi, she's great. But Josh has been at the company for, I think, 7 or so years. He's spent the bulk of the last few years just working on the key accounts, the chain side of the business. And, he was really largely responsible at the helm for doubling the size of the package side of our business. So he's got a lot of experience on that side. And again, I think we have a tremendous amount of opportunity there. So he's had a lot of experience in different facets of sales at the brewery. He wouldn't be doing it unless I had a ton of confidence in him in that role. And he's really just getting started. He's only been on his own in that role, I don't even think for 2 months now. But and I'm sure he's going to be rethinking some things, bringing some new ideas. I think we have a ton of opportunity here at the brewery to integrate sales with other facets of this business. I mean, a perfect example is just what we're doing on the community and the sustainability front. Our customers want to hear about that. How do we integrate our sales team with the team here that's doing work on the sustainability side of the business? How do we integrate our sales team with our marketing efforts? We're doing a lot, I mentioned, on the marketing front with billboards and advertisements in the Boston area with the Celtics and with the Red Sox. So he's going to be doing a lot of work integrating that sales team with other facets of the company. And he's going to do a lot of work just integrating the sales team itself. How do we integrate the chain key accounts team with the field team? And he's both Josh and I see a ton of opportunity there.
Right. Cool. Yeah. Well, remember when you, me, and Naomi, it was like last year, I think we had dinner at a seafood restaurant. Where was that?
Was it in Las Vegas?
I was gonna say probably.
No.
Because
Was it?
oh no,
No, it wasn't like it
gosh,
wasn't
was it
Vegas.
Chicago?
It was Chicago.
It was Chicago. It was.
Yeah. I don't remember why we were there.
Oh
It was
man, what's that place called again?
yeah.
I
God, we're
forget
just
the
like
name
two
of it.
old
Smith
aged
and
men.
Walensky's.
It was, yeah.
Oh, that's a
It
steakhouse.
was something
Never mind.
crab or I don't know why I can't
Joe's
remember.
Stone Crab?
No. This one not this.
No.
It wasn't a chain. This is like a
No.
Oh no, Jen. We wouldn't eat it.
yeah. I mean, come on, Jen.
Chicago.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a Chili's.
Yeah.
Oh, don't pretend like you're above a Chili's here.
No,
I
listen,
personally know better.
no. You put a triple dipper in front of me, it's going to be gone.
They're a good customer of ours.
Yeah, oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No shade on Chili's, man.
Yeah.
They are great. No,
Yeah.
I just thought that was I think Kimberly was with us, and I don't know. It was
Yeah, it was like me, you, Kimberly, and Naomi, I think.
yeah. This is a terrible
was
story
fun.
because I
it
something
must-
funny happened, but I can't remember what it was. We're just like old men that can't remember what happened a year ago. But
I know.
whatever.
I remember something really funny too, but I don't remember
Yeah.
what the heck it was.
Wow,
I
guys.
think it might have had something to do with paying.
Yeah, it is a quality content on this podcast, guys.
Lay
Yes.
off the D9 bevs, okay?
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. Well,
Okay.
Rob, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Really sounds like you guys have got through your trial of fire after COVID. You're hitting on all cylinders now. I think it's great. You've got your distributor transfer behind you. And I said this at the summit. I really do think things are looking up, even for craft beer in the US. I think this is going to be a good year. I think there was a lot of perfect storm elements that came in to everybody just having a real shitty year last year. And I think those are not all behind us, but a lot of it's behind us with pricing and seltzers and, well, everything, inventory. So anyway, not to get into another speech, just thank you for being on. And you know what? I'll see you down the road at the next conference, I'm sure.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Thanks, Rob.
guys. Take care.